In this episode of Crystal Uncorked, I'm filming from Colorado. This is my first episode since I have moved back home, and so I'm going to share with you what's been going on and some of the ahas that I've had. So let's dive in. Hello, I'm Crystal Vilkaitis. I'm a curious, wine-loving entrepreneur who loves to learn and have open and honest conversations. Join me and my amazing guests as we talk about all sorts of relatable business and life stuff. It's my goal that you'll have fun, learn something new, and get inspired. Wine is not required, but is recommended. This is Crystal Uncorked. Okay, so if you are watching this episode, you are seeing me in my Airbnb. Our friends have an Airbnb in downtown Loveland, and so that's where we're staying until our home is available for us to move in. As I've mentioned in a past episode, we bought a model home, and so the developer is renting it back from us until they don't need it anymore. So we are probably getting keys in January, they said, but hopefully sooner. It would be a Christmas miracle if we could get in sooner. If you are watching this, you are also noticing that I am not wearing any makeup, and that's a really big step for me because I like to look professional and like to look good. When we look good, we feel good, I feel. And, but today I couldn't do it. You know, there's been a lot that we've been doing. There's a lot of adjusting that's been happening since we moved. And with the flux of like where we're staying and having the right place to film. I'm doing this on my phone because my camera is packed. I don't have all my gear. I don't have my mic. But I didn't want any of that to hold me back from creating content. And I also had to be like in this mood to open up and share. And I'm getting a facial here soon. And so I'm not going to put on makeup and then go have it all taken off. And I'm also really trying to work on being super comfortable with who I am entirely and not care what people think, which if you watched the very first episode of Crystal Uncorked, you know that is a hard thing for me. I struggle with the fear of what other people think. So, but you know what? I'm putting myself out here. I wanted to create an episode for you. I didn't want to skip a week. And so here we are. You might also hear my dogs in the background since I don't have my high quality sound. So if you hear weird noises, it might be Barry snoring or licking his sister's face. So there's that. Okay, so we moved to Colorado. We have been here for almost a week, almost a month. And right away, when we were a couple hours outside of California driving, and Dustin started to get sick, and it was kind of like sinus nasally cough stuff. And then we got here on a Saturday, and that Monday I got it too. It wasn't COVID. There are other things, other sicknesses than COVID, if you can believe that. It feels like all we hear is COVID, but we probably had some sort of like sinus thing, but what was interesting, or we didn't see the doctor. It cleared itself up in about a week. But what was interesting is it was the same symptoms that Dustin and I had when my dog Bruiser died. Both Dustin and I got sick after Bruiser died, and it carried with us for a while. We had the same exact symptoms, the nasal, like runny nose, the congestion, a cough. And so I said to Dustin, I think that we are grieving leaving California. And when I saw my doctor, Dr. Michelle Wolford, who's been on the show, we celebrated her 40th birthday a couple weekends ago. And I mean, I so want to share some amazing stuff that happened there. On a future episode, I will. But I told her that both Dustin and I were sick, and we were wondering if it was grieving. And she said in Chinese medicine, the sinuses are connected to grief. So that was sort of interesting. I mean, we loaded up our car and we were sitting in the driveway ready to take off, and I just lost it. I just started crying, and I was really sad to leave. I was also excited. I mean, it was mixed emotions. I was really gonna miss our friends. I loved our house. We decided to sell. I was gonna miss the weather. My team is there. There's so much about California that I love. The restaurants, the palm trees, love the ocean, even though I never went. And so it was just like a lot of emotions came just fast and furious, where I didn't, I kind of teared up saying bye to my friend Hope, who does my hair, and my dentist of all people. But man, it really hit me just as we were driving away. And so I think that we had some grief that we struggled with that first week. So that was a little rough, but thankfully we are feeling a lot better. And just some of the things, I got to tell you, so we're staying in this Airbnb in Loveland. I'm born and raised Loveland. I also lived in Fort Collins a bit, but I lived my first 24 years here in Colorado. And to be home, to move back, I had a little bit of a period in the very beginning feeling like I failed, which is such a weird, stupid feeling, looking back. And I almost don't want to say stupid, because I feel like we feel things for all sorts of reasons and we shouldn't discount them or call them stupid. We should understand why we're feeling those ways. But I think that I felt this failure because I felt really proud that I moved out of Colorado and I did it on my own, single with Bruiser, and I started a company in California, a successful one, and through that company I've traveled all over the world speaking, and I just feel like I've achieved a lot in my life in California. And I think what was happening for me was, now I'm back home, have I failed? And it's not like I had to move back home and move in with my parents because my business failed and I had no money and something happened and now I have to start all over. And even if that happened, because that does happen to people, I don't even think that's failing. It's just, we're learning. You're either winning or learning, right? I really believe in that. But for some reason, my mind wanted me to think I was failing by being home. And I just think part of that too was when I left, I was pretty unhappy living in Colorado. The weather really got to me. I just really needed a change. I really wanted love, and I was striking out majorly here in Colorado. And so I was just so over it all, and my parents had gotten a divorce. And so I didn't really feel like I had a home before when I lived here. And so I was just ready. I was really ready to escape and get out. And so I think part of those feelings of failure are attaching to that, what my life was like when I did live here. And the thing is just because I live here now doesn't mean I all of a sudden become that same person, right? It doesn't mean that all of a sudden now you're back to that person. You have to you start where you left off on that day, May 2nd of 2010 is when I moved. So it's silly, but our minds are powerful, and that's something that's been happening for me. So I do feel like I've moved past that because I've been thinking about it, and the reason we are here is to help my family, and be closer to family. Through COVID, we just got some perspective on life and what do we want. And, Dustin and I are not going to have kids. But family is very, very important to me, as well as him. And with him losing both of his parents, he's just always encouraging me to spend more time with family. And that's where he's so open to move here, because he knows I'll be closer to family and he knows how important that is, which that means he's a pretty amazing person for doing that. So as I've been able to see my grandma more and do some stuff with her, and just help out and be there for family and just connect and play games and all of that, that feeling of failure of moving home has dissolved, because I understand why I moved home, which is for my family, to help, to be there for them, and I get so much fulfillment out of that. And so I feel really happy to be here, and I just hope that we can continue to help our family and see them a lot. So that's been a big thing. Another thing has been, we're maneuvering where we're staying. So we love this house. It's so cute. Like I said, it's our friend's Airbnb. and it's downtown. So we can walk to, we walked to this great wine bar last night and had a great dinner. We just met our friends for breakfast this morning and we walked there. I love just being able to walk around town. But it's a small house. It's a 1-bedroom house and we've got the 2 dogs and we don't have I don't have my dedicated workspace, my office that I can close the door. Right before I was going to film this episode, Dustin came in and I'm like, you got to leave. I need to film. And thankfully he's like, okay, I'll go on a walk. But I feel a little out of sorts on my schedule for work and producing. And we're only in this house probably for 1 to 3 months, 3 months max. And so I've been thinking okay, well, it doesn't have to be so structured and you don't have to produce. What if you take this time to really be a little bit more flexible, be a little bit more open with your schedule. And obviously I'm seeing family and maybe you're not producing so hardcore and working and really taking advantage of the time that you can. Because for me, I'm an achiever. That's when I feel good when I'm doing those things. But I feel really pulled to slow down, and having this kind of environment is harder to work in. I kind of have to find these moments of creativity, and then when I have them, really lean into them and go, right? Like I'm doing now, just fucking hit record and start filming and talk. And even if you don't have makeup on, we're fucking doing it because I feel it. The creativity is here. Now is the time, just do it. So instead of when I was in California, I would wake up at 6:30, do my journal, go for my walk, listen to my podcast, take a shower, and boom, sit at my desk. And then I had my to-do list. It was very structured. But here's the fucking deal, this is so insane, is I feel out of sorts and I'm not very productive because I don't have this schedule or this routine yet, and I don't have my office space. But when I was in California and I had that routine, I wanted to break free from it. I didn't like so much structure. I was so craving more freedom and flexibility in my days to let myself naturally glide where I needed to be for how I was feeling health-wise and emotionally and mentally and spiritually and physically, on what I could provide to my business, to this show, other passion projects I'm working on in those moments when I felt it, when I was in flow state, right? I was really craving that versus so much structure, because for me, how I work, having so much structure can actually stifle me. I don't think that's the right word. It can hold me back. It can make me put myself in a box kind of, versus finding that moment and flowing and just allowing myself to have that be whenever that is. It might be on the weekend. It might be early morning. It might be midday. It might be at night. Whenever that is, allowing for that to happen. And I'm just in this stage right now in my life where I really want to create great content. I really want to create things that are meaningful to me as well as anybody else who is listening and participating. And so, I feel that in order to create greatness, I need to be in a strong place to do that, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. And that doesn't always happen, when you sit down to work at 9 o'clock after you've done your whole routine. So what's happening for me is that I've known I wanted to break free, but I didn't do that too much when I was in California because it was just kind of how I always did things. It was just my routine. But now I've been taken out of my environment. I'm in an entirely new environment, feeling a little like a fish out of water, getting adjusted to a lot of different things. And I want to just use this change to create a new habit of living more in flow state. And I get really excited thinking about that and what I can create if I am in more of a flow state. And I know not everybody has the luxury of doing that. If you work for somebody else or you have a 9 to 5, you have to show up. And this is something that I think I've always thought the whole Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 is kind of silly because we don't operate that way. Like, we're not at our peak state Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, like it happens in different times. And like, if you're really not feeling it, taking a day off is worth it. Oh my God, take the day off. And don't feel guilty, which I am still struggling with this. I mean, I talked about this on an episode when I went to Maui. I unplugged, I didn't look at email, I didn't look at social media, and I felt so fucking guilty for not working. And when I was here in Colorado, my first week, I went to a networking event with a bunch of ladies. And one of the ladies I was talking to was saying how she feels so guilty if she's not working every day. And she's fucking retired. She's retired. But she started this networking group and she just feels like she needs to produce and work and work and work. And if she's not doing it, she feels fucking guilty. And I'm like, oh my God, you are retired. Don't feel guilty. This is ridiculous. Why do we do this to ourselves? And I really wonder if this is more of a female thing than a male thing. Because I never hear it from men who take a day off and are like, oh, I feel so guilty for taking today off. Like, I've never heard a man say that. But I've heard my friends say that. I've heard business contacts say that. And I know I fucking feel it. And I hate that. That's another thing here in Colorado is that I took one day off and I was in bed till 5 p.m. I got out of bed, dressed to take the dogs for a walk, and then came back home and went into bed. And it was one of the best days I've had in Colorado. I really needed it. Like, leading up to moving, I had the month before moving, I had 4 in-person speaking gigs. I hosted a virtual conference. We had Dustin's birthday. And then we had our estate sale, and obviously we moved, and then I recorded 5 episodes for the show and trying to catch up with all the friends that I want to see before we leave. And it was fucking busy. And then we move here and it was just kind of like go, go, go. And you're, you're all over the place. So I finally had that day. Well, and I actually went back to California for Dr. Michelle's birthday. And then I came back home to Colorado and I was like, holy fuck, I need a day to be in bed. And it so energized me. I brought so much more to my business the next day, to myself, to my relationship. I was eating better. Like, it just so helps us. But I had a little bit of like, there was that thought of, oh, I should be working. And actually, I even went through a course and started learning some stuff while I was laying in bed on my rest day, just because I love learning. But anyways, my whole point in saying all this is that I'm focusing on, I have a new environment now. It feels like in the next chapter, which makes it a little bit easier to create change, I think, because I am physically in a new place. And so I can create that change and have it be something brand new that I've never had before, because it's my time being here. So I want to focus on creating and working when I'm in flow states and really take advantage of those times. And when I'm feeling more reserved or pulled back, to really listen to that too. And lay in bed until 5 if I have to, or make some tea and read a book, which I love. I get so much energy from just reading a book. And so that's something that has been a big focus for me moving here. And it's a challenge, I'll tell you that. I feel a lot of guilt if I'm just not fucking feeling it. And I will say I've just been having a harder time feeling it, like feeling the creative juices in the flow, because things are new here. I want to show Dustin around. I want to see all my family. And so that's just been the priority, and that's totally okay. So I have to keep telling myself, like, girl, your team are rock stars. They are doing an awesome job with clients and with members, and I'm checking in and I'm here for them, and we've set up great processes. Everybody has what they need. Like, everything's good. You have the time to be with family, and if you're not feeling it, that's okay, because you will feel it. So if you resonate with this at all, like, that there are days when you're not in it and you're not feeling it, and then there are days where you are and you're like, fuck, I'm amazing today. Like, I did so much work. I can't believe I stressed yesterday that I took that day off, because today I totally killed it. So I'm hoping that I can release myself from that trap of guilt and putting myself through that and then trusting that I will get into the flow state and I will produce and I will always do what I need to do to get it done. And when I allow myself to be in flow, I will create greatness. When I allow myself to be in flow, I will create greatness. Could be a great quote graphic there. And I so believe that. So, I hope that some of that resonates with you, can help you. I feel like we as women typically just need to work on that a little bit more, and hopefully you got something out of this or from my experience that can help you too. That's been some big stuff for me. The final thing that I'll say is, two things. One is, moving here, I feel a lot of opportunities, which is really exciting. I feel a lot of opportunities to I don't know. I see property investing. I love properties. So does Dustin. And I'm just loving the Northern Colorado market. Like, I just feel like this is a really strong place to live and to run a business or businesses. And the people are so nice. And the cost, it's a little less expensive than California, not by a ton, but I just feel so much opportunity here. And some of that might be too because it is new. It's new to us, this new chapter, so you feel like a fresh start and so much opportunity. So I'm really excited for that on a lot of levels, on property levels and real estate, on Crystal Uncorked, on the show, and for Crystal Media. There's just so much opportunity. Dustin feels it too. I got a lot of clarity on where I see the next 1 to 3 years of my life professionally. I got a lot of clarity on that, and just a little glimpse of it, I'll do an episode about it, I'll try to, is this show. I have a lot of ideas for this show, and I see it being so much bigger than what it is today. I really want to help people tell their stories. I really want to learn from people. I'm so curious. I want to learn. I want to be inspired. And I want to have fun. And that's what I've said from day fucking one of this show. And it feels so good to still feel so in alignment with it. When I started recording my first episode in February 2021, and now it's October 2021, and I still feel that exact same way. It's like in my core that I feel like there is something to this show that can really help people and be a lot bigger than what it is today. And so that's kind of my mission. I'm excited to explore that. I see a lot of opportunities with that. And, the final thing that I'll say of moving here to Colorado is I've had a lot of perspective of what's meaningful and what I want to spend effort and time on, and who I want to spend effort and time on and with. And I really want things to be meaningful and worth it. And I think maybe this comes as we get older too, that we get a little bit more perspective of what we want and what we don't want. But moving to a new state and being back home, I've just gotten a lot of clarity on what matters and what's important. And time, peace, like time is so important, spending it wisely and not living in that guilt like I was talking about, and filling that time with stuff I really fucking love and enjoy. Because when I do that, it allows me to give back so much more to everybody else, and it keeps me healthy and happy, and I'm worth that. So are you. So that's been a big, aha. It's not that I didn't know that before, but I think I'm focusing on it a lot more, of what's meaningful and just how I'm spending time and filling my cup up. And, I have to say, like, helping my grandma, we painted her pantry on Monday. I don't paint, okay? I made a little bit of a mess. I have to go back tomorrow and clean up some of my mess. And I was a little sore from it. But I she has been waiting to get this thing painted. And I just came and said, well, let's paint it. So my grandma painted the shelves. I painted the pantry. I love doing that together. I found it to be therapeutic. And so nice just to be with my grandma. I'm seeing her so much more. She makes me laugh. We'll have like deep conversations and then really light, funny conversations. And I'm just loving spending my time with her. Even if I'm taking her to an appointment, driving her around, like just simple things, I fucking love it. And that's how I want to spend my time, so I've been really working on how do I organize my schedule to allow me to have that freedom and flexibility to be with grandma, to help her out. And I have to imagine that this is what people go through when they have children, right? Like you just want to raise your kids and be with them and be an impactful mother or father, and you do whatever you can with your schedule to just be there for them. And that's where I'm at with my grandma and seeing my family. So time is so important, and just really focusing on what is meaningful and where I want to spend that time, and then doing it and committing to it and just making it happen. And there's been a lot of action that has happened here in Colorado. Like I've taken a lot of action and do a lot of stuff versus talk or think about it. And that's been really nice too. I think I just needed a new scene. So that's the update. And I hope that you enjoyed it. And thanks for listening and following along on all these changes. There's a lot of changes still to come. But I just love doing the show, and it really does mean the world to me that you listen. I know I say this all the fucking time, but seriously, it means the world to me. If you haven't written a review yet, if you could do that, it would mean the world to me. On Apple, or Google, it helps there. You could also DM me on Instagram, or share this episode with somebody, or share the show with somebody that you think would find it to be helpful to them if they want to learn and have fun and enjoy and be inspired here. Enjoy the party. So I'll see you on the next See You. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. Are you on Instagram? I'd love to see pictures of you listening to the show, a screenshot of your favorite episode, and/or your favorite wines. Share them with me. Just follow and tag @Crystal Uncorked. I can't wait to see you there. All right, I'll see you on the next See You.